Welcome to the Deep Dive. We explore stories that shape reality, sometimes even the ones built on, well, deliberate falsehoods. Let me ask you this. What if some of the biggest alien stories out there, the really wild ones, underground bases, secret deals, aliens living among us, what if they weren't real encounters but were actually cooked up, intentionally planted by the U.S. military itself?
It sounds like a conspiracy theory, right?
Right.
But the sources we're digging into today suggest it might be closer to actual policy. We're diving deep into a pretty staggering case of psychological warfare.
Yeah.
It centers on an Albuquerque businessman, Paul Bennewitz, and the Air Force agent who targeted him, a guy named Richard Doty from AFOSI, the Air Force Office of Special Investigations.
Okay, so our mission here is to trace how this whole thing unfolded. It's a really dark intersection of Cold War secrecy and, frankly, amateur UFO hunting.
Right.
And the result seems to be this calculated campaign to protect classified stuff by just inventing truly bizarre alien myths. It's kind of a blueprint for how disinformation works, how it spirals.
And that's what makes it so compelling, isn't it? This wasn't just the government saying no comment. They actively manufactured evidence for alien contact.
Yeah, fake evidence.
Fake evidence, yeah. And they fed it straight to UFO researchers. It was sophisticated and, honestly, pretty devastating for the people involved. Okay, let's get into this story. It's fascinating, but also quite tragic. We could start with the man at the center of it all.
Paul Bennewitz. Before he got tangled up with the Air Force, who was he? Just some random guy.
No, not at all. Bennewitz was actually a pretty respected engineer. He founded his own company in Albuquerque, Thunder Scientific. They made advanced humidity sensing tech.
So a technical background.
Exactly. He wasn't some, fringe character wandering the desert. He was a serious professional. His company did well, like million-dollar sales at one point. He had credibility, technical know-how.
And that technical side is probably what got him started down this path, right? He wasn't just casually looking up.
That seems right. Around 1979, maybe early 1980, he starts noticing weird things near his house. And his house was right next to Kirtland Air Force Base.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and also near the Manzano nuclear weapons storage facility. So, sensitive areas, he used specialized gear, started filming strange lights, recording these really unusual radio signals. He became convinced it was alien activity.
And this is where it starts to get really sad, because his focus, his obsession, it seems to take a toll pretty quickly.
It really does. The sources suggest he started suffering from, well, it sounds like a form of delusional psychosis. He didn't just think aliens were nearby. He believed they were beaming signals directly into his brain.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it stops being just research. He becomes utterly dedicated, almost consumed with the idea of defending Earth from this perceived alien threat.
And that mental state, sadly, makes him kind of the perfect mark for what comes next. He wasn't just watching. He was trying to tell people. When does the military actually clock him?
The key date seems to be October 24th, 1980. Bennewitz contacts Kirtland Air Force Base directly, says, "I've got proof of something weird."
And they listened.
They brought him in for a briefing, on November 10th. And that's the light bulb moment for the military, it seems. They realize this guy poking around near their secure facilities needs to be managed. He's a potential leak.
Okay, so enter the agent, Richard Doty. Tell us about him, AFOSI. Right.
Yeah, Special Agent Richard Doty, Air Force Office of Special Investigations. Basically, the Air Force's internal cops and counterintelligence guys. He was stationed right there at Kirtland.
So Doty gets the Bennewitz file. What's the actual plan? It seems like a lot of effort inventing aliens for one guy.
Well, according to Doty himself later on, it was sort of a two-part strategy. Very clever, in a dark way.
Okay.
First, standard counterintelligence. We got what, if anything, Bennewitz had actually stumbled upon. Did he see or record something genuinely classified?
Makes sense.
Second, and this is the wild part, actively distract him. Feed him information, documents, stories that seem to confirm his wildest alien theories. Just overload him with disinformation.
But why not just, shut him down, tell him he's wrong, threaten him? Why create this huge fiction?
That's where the Cold War paranoia comes in. The thinking was, if this civilian engineer is maybe accidentally filming our secret projects, what about actual Soviet spies?
Ah, okay.
They figured the UFO community, which was pretty large and open, was probably infiltrated or could be easily. Just shutting Bennewitz up might actually draw more attention from the wrong people.
So making the whole field seem crazy was safer. Poisoning the well, sort of.
Exactly that. They saw the UFO community almost like a leaky bucket. By feeding Bennewitz and maybe others these completely bogus alien stories, crash sites, government treaties, all that, they could do two things. One, totally discredit any real footage or data Bennewitz might have accidentally captured, make it all seem like part of his delusion. And two, use these interactions as a back channel. See what other UFO researchers might have picked up, maybe coax out any photos or recordings they had.
Trading fake secrets for potentially real ones. And what was the real secret? The thing they were so desperate to hide.
This is maybe the most stunning part. The big secret they were protecting, according to the sources, was the F-117 Nighthawk, the stealth fighter, well, attack aircraft.
Wow. Back in the late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah, it was flying, operational, but its existence was top secret. Based out in Nevada, but maybe testing near Kirtland. If Bennewitz was filming weird, triangular, silent lights over the base,
It could have been the F-117.
it absolutely could have been. So they needed any footage like that to be instantly dismissed. Oh, that's just Bennewitz and his alien obsession.
That's incredibly cynical, using this guy's potential mental health issues to cover up a black project.
And Doty himself basically admitted the scale of the deception later. He reportedly said something like 80% of everything he put out there during his whole intel career was false.
80%.
Yeah. So when you hear these really wild stories that trace back to this era, you got to keep that number in mind. 80% fiction, designed to hide the 20% truth.
Okay, let's talk about the myths themselves, the stuff that Doty and maybe others cooked up using Bennewitz as the launch pad.
The first really big one is the legend of Dulce Base. They took Bennewitz's observations, his signals intelligence, and twisted it. Convinced him he'd found a secret underground alien base.
Under the Jicarilla Apache Reservation, right?
That's the spot, Dulce, New Mexico.
Yeah.
And Bennewitz, he really ran with it. He didn't just believe it existed. He started filling in the backstory.
What kind of backstory?
Oh, it's elaborate. He claimed the military had made some pact with aliens years ago, traded land, maybe even cattle, for advanced alien technology.
The classic trope.
Right. And central to his belief was this idea of a Dulce War, some kind of underground battle between humans and aliens, supposedly late 79 or early 80, that made the military pull out. Bennewitz even wrote this paper, Project Beta, basically a tactical plan for how the U.S. could attack the base.
Good grief, he was completely invested, and they didn't just feed his delusion, right? They used him to spread it, like the Myrna Hansen story.
Yes, exactly. Myrna Hansen's abduction story from 1980 fits right in. She reported being taken underground, seeing body parts in vats, a cow being levitated into a spaceship. Really graphic, terrifying stuff.
And she emerges after meeting Bennewitz.
The timing is suggestive, yeah. Her story becomes a cornerstone of the Dulce mythology. And the way her memories supposedly came out is, well, it's something else.
So?
The hypnosis sessions, where these incredibly detailed and horrific abduction memories surfaced, they were apparently done inside Bennewitz's Lincoln Town car.
In his car?
Yeah, and get this. He had lined the entire inside of the car, windows included, with thick aluminum foil.
Foil.
He believed it was the only way to shield them from the aliens trying to mess with their minds, beam signals at them. That detail, the foil-lined Lincoln, it just shows how deep the paranoia ran, how blurred the lines got between his state and the official secrets he thought he was uncovering.
Doty's influence clearly went way beyond just Bennewitz and Dulce, didn't it? He seems to be behind a lot of modern UFO lore.
Oh, he's a giant in the field, maybe unintentionally. He's widely credited with creating, or at least massively promoting, the Majestic 12 or MJ-12 documents.
The secret committee overseeing UFOs.
That's the one. The story of this ultra-secret government group formed after Roswell to handle alien stuff. Doty allegedly helped fabricate official-looking documents to give it that ring of truth.
And he was involved in that Project Serpo thing, too, the alien exchange program.
Yeah, Project Serpo. That was the story that U.S. military personnel secretly traveled to an alien planet, Serpo, as part of an exchange. Doty apparently fed early versions of this to the journalist Linda Moulton Howe way back in '83. But then, years later, in the mid-2000s, the whole story gets resurrected and massively expanded through these anonymous emails sent out online. And many researchers trace those emails back to Doty. It shows how these myths can just keep coming back.
It's like planting seeds that keep sprouting, and sometimes the details are just weird. Designed to be weird, maybe.
Absolutely. Good disinformation often mixes plausible-sounding stuff with total absurdity. It makes the whole package easier to dismiss. Doty's name is linked to claims that the aliens being hosted preferred ancient Tibetan music.
Tibetan music.
Yep. And also had a thing for strawberry ice cream.
Strawberry ice cream. Seriously.
Seriously, it sounds ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
But maybe that's the point. Sprinkle in enough absurdity, and nobody takes any of it seriously, especially the parts that might be hiding something real, like, say, a secret aircraft.
Was Doty acting alone, or was this part of a bigger operation within intelligence circles?
There are suggestions, often discussed in UFO circles, of a loose group of intelligence figures involved in this sort of thing, sometimes called the aviary.
The aviary. Like birds?
Yeah, code names. Within that supposed group, Doty's alleged code name was Falcon. It implies this wasn't just a one-off thing with Bennewitz, but maybe part of a broader strategy of managing the UFO subject through disinformation.
So the campaign against Bennewitz, it worked in terms of distraction. But the human cost was immense. What happened to Paul Bennewitz in the end?
It's a really tragic ending. By August 1988, the constant pressure, the paranoia, it just completely overwhelmed him. He started accusing his own wife of being controlled by aliens.
Oh, no.
He even tried to barricade their house with sandbags. Convinced an attack was imminent, his family had to intervene. They had him admitted to a mental health facility for about a month. He was never really the same after that.
And the fact that this was a deliberate campaign, that wasn't just speculation, right? It actually came out.
It did, very dramatically.
Sure.
July 1989, at a big conference for MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, a UFO author named Bill Moore, who himself was rumored to be tangled up with intelligence.
Yeah.
Moore gets up and basically confesses. He admits he'd been cooperating with Doty and others, and that he intentionally fed bad information, disinformation, directly to Bennewitz.
How did the audience react?
Pandemonium. He was shouted down, basically run out of the community. People felt betrayed. They trusted him.
You'd think that confession would kill the myths, but somehow they persist. What about Doty? What happened to the guy who supposedly invented MJ-12 and Serpo? Any consequences?
Well, professionally, it's kind of a bizarre twist. Doty actually got kicked out of AFOSI back in 1985. Not for the Bennewitz stuff, apparently, but for allegedly faking reports about contacts with communist agents in West Germany.
So he was making up internal reports, too.
Seems that way. He came back to the States, got demoted, and ended his Air Force career. Get this, working as a food service supervisor in the mess hall at Kirtland Air Force Base.
Wait, seriously? From counterintelligence agent weaving alien myths to supervising the cafeteria.
That's the story. It's quite the fall. But even with that history, and his own admissions about disinformation, he still claims everything he did in intelligence was sanctioned.
And he still shows up at UFO conferences.
He does, which, just adds another layer of complexity and keeps the mythology alive in some ways.
So pulling it all together, what's the big takeaway here? This campaign worked, didn't it? Those poisonous seeds, as you called them, they really took root.
They absolutely did. Dulce Base, Majestic 12, Serpo, these became foundational myths in parts of the UFO community. And the effect was exactly what they likely wanted. It muddied the waters so thoroughly. Any potentially serious investigation into strange sightings near places like Kirtland got easily lumped in with the craziest stuff. The F-117, or whatever else they were hiding, stayed hidden.
And the blueprint, the Bennewitz Doty story, it shows how they did it. By exploiting curiosity, maybe even vulnerability.
Precisely. They took someone genuinely trying to figure something out, maybe someone already struggling, and turned their quest for truth into a tool for national security. Made them an unwitting asset, ensuring anything they found would be dismissed as just paranoia.
It really forces you to think critically about where these stories come from. So let me leave you, our listener, with this final thought. If they could successfully manufacture, let's say, 80% fiction back then, complete with aliens loving strawberry ice cream, just to hide one secret aircraft, the F-117. What kind of highly classified projects, what kind of real-world tech might be flying around today? And could some of the unexplained UAP stories we hear now, the ones that seem unsubstantiated or maybe a bit wild, could they be the modern equivalent? What might we be getting distracted from right now?
That is definitely something to chew on. Thanks for diving deep with us today.